Hey everybody, it's Joe Richardson here. I am, for the last time, going to talk about the Georgia Bulldogs season. I may get into how they're doing recruiting wise. But as far as, Georgia missed out on the playoffs. They played horrible against LSU. Fromm had been struggling to complete over 50% of passes, which he hadn't been doing the last four games going into the Sugar Bowl. But he had an awesome showing thanks to George Pickens being there for the whole game. And although Pickens, most of his catches were in the first half, I believe he only had one catch the second half, if I'm not mistaken. But there were other receivers who caught. There were only two other receivers who caught multiple passes, because that's how thin the receiving corps was for Georgia. Not too many opportunities for some of the other players since there were injuries. But, anyways, Georgia Fromm throws a TD pass to George Pickens, who who was player of the game, and I'll have to tell you more of his stats in a little bit. But yeah, Fromm's I think his first touchdown was a TD. Yeah, Georgia's first touchdown was a TD pass to George Pickens, the talented true freshman who was a five-star recruit coming out of Hoover, Alabama. So, yeah, he had originally committed to Auburn, but decommitted and flipped to Georgia. So, he played lights out too. If you want to know Pickens' stats, I'll tell you: 12 catches for 175 yards with the lone TD. And I'll tell you more on Fromm's numbers too. But with a lot of players sitting out this ball game for one reason or another, the defense didn't have the rotation, and then we had a first time starter on the offensive line who stepped up big. Sawyer had come in as a backup a lot of times, and I think he may have started one prior to that Sugar Bowl start. But we had some guys step up, and the line did good considering some of the guys sat out. Cade Mays was still in there playing tackle rather than guard. Cleveland could have played, but he was academically ineligible. So I hope he does end up graduating and still, gets the start next year, or at least play get playing time like he has all year. Well, with one or two guys leaving, he may very well get to be a starter. But we'll see how that goes. So the line did great. Sawyer making his first or second start. There was this a guy that was recruited as a center. He played at guard. I forget the guy's name, but he's from North Gwinnett. I can't remember his name, but he was the center at North Gwinnett, and he played guard. He started at guard though, since Trey Hills, just starting center. However, the guy from North Gwinnett is the backup center, but K Mays has played center as a backup. So it's like K Mays and Sawyer are your multi linemen. They can play any position on the line. So when you got those two guys playing, I guess Kirby does have a short leash on his line sometimes. But what can I say? From 20 for 30, 250 yards, 2 TDs, no interception. The other TD going to Matt Landers, 3 catches for 25 yards, I think. Simmons also caught 4 passes for 47 yards. No TDs for him, though. And McIntosh, the true freshman running back, he caught one pass for 3 yards. He was also the second leading rusher with 6 carries for 26 yards. And Samir White, he ran the ball 18 times for 92 yards and a TD, which is how Georgia got their other TD, is by running. Their third TD is by running one of their three TDs by Samir White running and hitting the pylon. He hit the pylon, but the ball was in when he hit the pylon. So it was definitely considered a touchdown when they looked at it. So Samir White had a 5.1 yards per carry average. Makes me think the future's bright because Swift, he didn't play much, didn't contribute a lot, but Swift throughout the whole season showed that he was there for the team. He could have not even dressed out and played, but he wanted to go out there, but he still was nursing his shoulder, which Kirby was didn't play him too much because Swift is one of the top running backs going into the draft. And can I blame him for leaving? No, I don't blame Swift at all for leaving. If you're possibly the top running back in the draft class, you probably should. You can always get your education later. That's what the player fans don't realize is these players can go back to school and finish their degree. They can go to school online. They don't have to go to the university they played college ball at. They can probably finish their degree and have their credits transfer if they wanted to, or just do the school they went to online. But it's just one of the things that people don't think is, yeah, if you're not graduating and you leave for draft, then why are you going if you don't have your degree? Well, here's the thing. They may have some of them may actually already have their degree when they leave early, but they probably but because they're considered a highly touted prospect, they want to see where they go in the draft. Not all running backs are first round picks, but I've seen it recently that there may be a back or two that does get picked in the first round, depending on how good they really are. And Swift could be a first round back. We'll see though. But yeah, he didn't play much. Cook would have played more had it not been for him getting injured. He did not return. He had 3 carries for 12 yards. But McIntosh stepped up as a backup and proved that him and Seuss may be a good punch down the road. But with Cook around, I think that Seuss and Cook will be the 1-2 punch they're looking for. And don't forget the running backs that could be coming in the upcoming recruiting class. Milton's already committed. Georgia's pursued Evans, and I believe that's where Evans is landing at, is probably Georgia. I don't know because he hasn't been able to announce anything, and I'm not sure what's holding Evans back. But yeah, people are saying Evans is not somebody who's Georgia should want. They think he's another Isaiah Crowell who did get kicked off the team after his freshman year at Georgia. So if he's another Crowell, I'd stay away from him. But Kirby knows what he's doing. Let's see what happens. So I did put a little bit of recruiting in there. And we also got a quarterback coming in if Fromm does decide to leave after his excellent performance in the Sugar Bowl. But I think it'll be Bennett or Carson Beck who's the incoming player for the the 2020 recruit. We may be trying to get a really good 2021 QB recruit that decommitted from Oklahoma recently. Yeah, Vandergriff. He seems like he'll be an interesting prospect to go after. He's a pro style guy. People think he's another Fromm. He might be better than Fromm, as a matter of fact. But we'll see how that goes. But as far as Baylor, Charlie Brewer did play most of the game, but he ended up hitting his head. He ended up getting his head hit on the ground, back of his head hit on the ground. He's already had concussions before, but he did complete 24 of 41 passes. He threw a TD, but also threw an interception. Then when the third string quarterback came in, because the backup ain't as good of a thrower, so they decided to put the third string in. He went 4 for 9 and an interception. But Brewer did throw a TD and ran for a TD because it was 19 to nothing at halftime. The final score ended up being 26 to 14. But Georgia did enough to secure their win, though. LeCount picked off 2 passes, including one that sealed the game. So LeCount did his job, and man, it was a great game for Baylor. Was an 11-win team, so they were better than the Texas team that had beaten Georgia a year ago. Baylor went from 11-loss team to a 6 or 7-win team, and then this year they won 11 and lost 3. So they were 1-11. Baylor coach's first year was 1-11. Then 6-7 or 7-6, I think. And then they won 11, lost 3. So big improvement from Baylor and the coach turning the program back into what it seemed like when Art Briles was there. But yeah, keep in mind though that the receiving corps is young. Pickens was player of the game, 175 yards, 12 catches, 175 yards, and a touchdown. George Pickens is probably going to be a star. As long as he stays out of trouble and has a good attitude, he will be a good playmaker. Cager, I hope he gets drafted and I hope he does well in the NFL. I'm glad he came to Georgia because that really helped Fromm out when he was able to play in the games. But Fromm's passing game throwing suffered without Cager in there. It really did. But Fromm didn't need Cager in what could be his final game of his career. And we already know Swift is going, and I'm not sure. And I think I know there's other players like that are going to the NFL from Georgia's team. So best of luck to all of them. And as far as recruiting's going, we do have the number 2 SEC class. I think it's like number 4 overall right now. But we're only trailing Bama in the conference. But Clemson overall is winning on the recruiting trail. Clemson, they do have some Georgia products. They like to recruit, like Lawrence, the starting QB. He was a 5-star that Clemson was able to pull in the 18 recruiting class. The QB Georgia pulled in transferred to Ohio State and made the playoffs. Wow. But yes, I'll be watching the national championship and hoping LSU wins. I like Clemson too, but I want somebody in the conference to win. Even if it was an LSU team that beat Georgia pretty bad. So, guys, the future looks bright for Georgia. The recruiting class, just so amazing. We got plenty of linemen that are coming in. We got plenty of guys. We got some receivers that will be huge weapons for whether it's from next year or someone else who takes over after Fromm's departure. It's looking bright, and I hope that Georgia continues to recruit well and can get some good players. So, best of luck to Georgia. And I hope the off season ain't too brutal for them. I hope there may be some transfers coming, and I already know there are some, but let's hope that they that we don't have to, we still got some key players to look forward to watching that stay and help Georgia win some games. So that's it, y'all, and thank you for tuning in. If you do decide to watch this all the way through, thank you so much for the ones who have watched this video, my videos throughout the season. I do really appreciate it, but I ain't gonna talk about the national championship game. This was clearly for Georgia, and if Georgia would have been a playoff team in the national championship game, this video wouldn't exist right now. So you know, maybe if to talk about their playoff game if they would have won or lost, but that would have been about it. All right, guys, thank you so much, and God bless. Goodbye.